Hello everybody, I'm your host, Zeb Lewis, and on today's game of Zebpardy, we will have 3 contestants show us what they know about the water moccasin. Let's meet them. Now that you met them, let's get started. Dr. Zebbardy, please start us off.
By my calculations, I would like to start off with Predators 400.
Predators 400? Alright. What is the moccasin's most common predator?
If my calculations are correct, the correct answer to this question will be a possum.
That is correct. 400 for Dr. Zebbardy.
Math is never failing me.
The most common mammalian predator of a water moccasin is the possum. Mr. Von Sweets, you're up. Where would you like to start?
I think I'll start the show with Characteristics 200.
Characteristics 200? What is the average length of the water moccasin?
You know, I did a show one time with a guy that looked like a moccasin. He was 2 to 4 feet long. I'll have to do that as my answer.
That's right. Characteristics 200 goes to Von Sweets.
I knew that would act out, right?
Water moccasins are relatively large, often ranging from 2 to 4 feet long. Mr. Mateo, you're up. Alright.
They always say go big or go home. So I'm going with a Zaboom.
Our first Zaboom question. These are worth 1,000 points. Please tell me the kingdom, phylum, and class of the water moccasin.
I'm gonna go with Kingdom Swaggy, Phylum Speedy, and Class Out of Your League.
That is wrong. Mr. Mateo gets nothing out of the Zaboom question. Dr. Zebbardy, give it a shot.
Well, since you actually have to think about this one, I'm just going to use my intelligent mind and tell you the answer. So, the kingdom would have to be Animalia, the phylum Chordata, and the class Reptilia.
That's correct. 1,000 for Dr. Zebbardy.
Damn, we Santa had a big brain.
And for the classification of a moccasin, we are going to have Miss Michael Lewis, a professional moccasin slayer that joins us today from the Amazonian jungle to help me pronounce these big, intelligent words. And here she is.
Thank you. For the scientific classification of a water moccasin is Kingdom Animalium, Phylum Chordata, Class Reptilia, Order Squamata, Family Viperidae, Genus and Species Achistrodon piscivorus. Thank you.
And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is the classification of a moccasin. Mr. Von Sweets, take it away. Habitat 200. Alright, here's your question. Where is the most common place to find a moccasin in southeastern United States?
Texas.
That is wrong. Mr. Mateo, would you like to take a shot?
Tie game. 90th minute. I get a penalty in the box. Go set the ball down. Walk back. Stare straight into the goalie's eyes. Set my feet. Run to kick the ball. And say Florida.
And he shoots and he scores! Habitat 200 for Mr. Mateo. The most common place to find a moccasin is in Florida. They can be found from Florida all the way to southern Virginia. Dr. Zebbardy, it is your turn.
I believe I need to choose Diet 400.
Alright, Diet 400. What is two of the moccasins' favorite prey?
My little kitty says fish and birds is the correct answer.
That is correct. Water moccasins eat fish and birds. So Diet 400 goes to Dr. Zebbardy. Water moccasins eat fish, small mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles such as lizards, baby alligators and turtles, and other snakes, including smaller water moccasins. Mr. Von Sweets, it is your turn.
I'll go with characteristics 400.
Characteristics 400. Is it true that juvenile water moccasins have a yellow tipped tail?
I'm going to go with true.
That's correct. Characteristics 400 goes to Mr. Von Sweets.
They always said to go with your guts.
Juvenile water moccasins have a yellow tipped tail to help them lure prey to go in for the kill. Mr. Mateo, it is your turn.
Habitat 400.
Habitat 400. Your question is, where is the most common place water moccasins can be found? Or,
Cut!
You know, being from Florida, you play in ankle deep water sometimes. So I'm gonna go with swamps.
that is right. Habitat 400 goes to Mr. Mateo. Water moccasins may be found swimming in swamps, marshes, drain ditches, and at the edge of ponds. On land, they're found near waters and fields. They like to sun themselves on branches, stones, and logs near the water's edge. Dr. Zebbardy, where would you like to start your calculations? Diet 200? Alright. What are methods the moccasin uses to attack their prey?
My calculations have shown that they stalk their prey. They just watch them.
Your calculations are wrong. Mr. Mateo, can you save this one? That is correct. Diet 200 goes to Mr. Mateo. Water moccasins utilize a few different hunting methods, being opportunistic and ambushing, and they can also be scavengers if they need to be. We are now down to our final two questions. Mr. Von Sweets, which one would you like to act out for us?
I would like to audition for Predators 200.
Predators 200? Here's your question. What do most predators fear when they go in to attack the water moccasin?
I always had bad stage fright. So I'm gonna go with they're venomous.
That is right. Predators 200 to Mr. Von Sweets.
I knew I was just as intelligent as I am handsome.
Water moccasins are very toxic. When a snake injects its venom, it makes it harder for blood to clot, and the victim will bleed out or die from internal bleeding. Mr. Mateo, you get our final question, and it is a Zaboom question. For your Zaboom question, what season do the moccasins mate in?
You know, I love playing soccer in the spring. Maybe They like making love in the spring.
That is right. You have answered the Zaboon question. Water moccasins breed in the spring every year. The female water moccasin will have a gestation period of 3 to 4 months. After the baby comes to term, the female snake will give live birth up to 12 young. Baby water moccasins do not need the protection or the hunting skills of their mother because they have evolved the unique ability to flick their pink tongues and trick frogs and other creatures into thinking it is a worm.